All right. Okay, I'm continuing. My video got cut off. My last video. My co-star Kal-El, my cat, has gone to other pastures. I was gonna feature him again, so I'm gonna post the last one. It's kind of a short, further post ad meliora observations. Excuse me. And intro to Kal-El, my kitty. I think that's the most you've seen of his face on camera. So I've been doing these. This video is going to be the first of a few I'm going to do. I don't know how many I'm going to do tonight, but I want to kind of do a deep dive into some films in my DVD collection that have not yet hit Blu-ray, and I don't know when or if they are, and if they have or are, please fill me in so I can, long for them and put them in my carts and never be able to buy them unless somebody, takes mercy on this channel and buys them for me. So the first one I want to talk about is Bully. Woo! 2001, Bully by Larry Clark. Okay, so let's get comfortable here. This is in my opinion, this is one of the more extreme films in my library, my filmography. Well, that's not the right word, but my my library, stuff that I have experienced, watched, owned, collected, taken in, absorbed, and I gotta say, I got this movie in 2001. I knew who Larry Clark was. He did Kids. I don't think I'd done Kids. Woo! I don't think I'd seen Kids prior to that. Very familiar with it. I was having a nervous breakdown when I worked at Borders. I had a good friend, Dwayne Cochran. Dwayne Cochran, ladies and gentlemen. I do not give this motherfucker enough credit. Dwayne Cochran gave me my own Plex channel, which is how I'm watching Dexter New Blood, which I will review when it's finished. Loving it. And so many other movies that he's helped me experience. And we have been friends on and off, mostly on, since 1993. Almost 28 fucking years, man. We've been through ups and downs. He lives now in Burlington, which is oddly this little town my mom was born in. Anyway, Dwayne has been a brother to me. We don't talk that often, but he has helped me a lot. We've had our disagreements, differences, but it's water under the bridge, which I can't say for everyone who I perceived as wronging me. Dwayne kind of wronged me, I thought, but no, in a way, no. Dwayne did me a favor. Things he did and said, and man, I love the guy. So he and his one-time girlfriend Rebecca, who was also having some mental health issues the same time I was, dropped by my store at Borders in 2002 when I was a manager there, a merchandising manager at Borders Books and Music. And he said, "Hey man, you want this movie?" He would often give me things he duped offline. Like he burnt me I didn't ask for these things. He's a very generous guy. He's a Sagittarius, by the way. He burnt me like the Mad Monster Party soundtrack, which is just awesome. Cannibal Holocaust soundtrack, which is beyond awesome. Just random shit he would come across. He helped me burn a CD of my own music called Entropy Frog Rat and the Apocalypse Flowers. Our one album called 1231, and which I really don't have any copies of the DVD anymore. I do have a couple of tracks online, one of which you can find on YouTube on my channel, Lolita 93. It's mostly instrumental, experimental stuff that I recorded with some friends in 1993. Entropy Frog Rat essentially is me. I don't know if I'll ever use that nom de plume again. Dwayne helped burn and produce that, so he's an honorary Apocalypse Flowers. The Apocalypse Flowers are people that anyone that helped me with my solo music. So anyway, Dwayne Cochran, ladies and gentlemen. So he gave me this movie Bully, 2001 film. He gave it to me on DVD, Lionsgate, by Larry Clark. And like I said, I hadn't seen Larry Clark's films. I think, no, I hadn't. Shortly after I saw a bully, I did buy Another Damn Paradise at Borders, pretty inexpensively, which was his kind of, I guess, Hollywood tryout movie with James Woods and Melanie Griffith, Natalie Gregson Wagner, and some other dude. And it was okay. I eventually sold it when I started selling all my collection a couple years ago. But I did end up buying Kids Indeed, and I finally saw it. I had some friends that saw it in the theater, and of course, that's the debut of a 15-year-old Rosario Dawson. That was Larry Clark kind of discovered her. Now, I happen to, not knowing this, I happen to know her uncle Gustavo Vasquez, a aspiring comic book artist who later became a professional comic artist for DC and other companies. Gustavo lived down here for a while and hung out a lot at the Heroes store and Heroes conventions where I did. I never knew his name. Turns out he's the uncle, the younger brother of the mother of Rosario Dawson. So fortuitously, after she became a well-known actress and model, uh, through Gustavo, she became a guest at Heroes Con 2 years in a row, in 2006 and 2007. In 2007, she screened a film she produced and starred in called Descent, an NC-17 rated rape revenge film. Man, that was not for the squeamish. Not many people were in the audience, and Shelton, the owner of Heroes, was not happy because he's kind of he was a born again Christian. He tends to want everything to be family friendly. So he shies away from these kind of controversial things. I mean, even Rosario being in these Kevin Smith movies with all the R-rated potty mouth stuff and the donkey shows, that's just not his bailiwick, so to speak. Um, but needless to say, it's Rosario Dawson. So he let her have a private screening. Uh, you could basically get in free, but encouraged donations to uh, comic book related, I don't want to say charities, but funds, like the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund, which I donated to, and which I helped support by interviewing Neil Gaiman when he was trying to free young Mike Diana from his sentence for obscenity in 1997. That's a whole other story. I remember recently I went through the whole story with my now ex beloved Ad Meliora. It's a fascinating story. Of course, she already knew Neil Gaiman was and Mike Diana. She she knows everything. She's a fucking brilliant. Her brain is like a repository of arcane knowledge. I miss her. I miss her a lot. So anyway, um, so I didn't have anything smaller than $20 bills. So I gave $20. I went to Friends of Lulu, which was like Lulu.com, which was female comic book creators helping fund their stuff and also, expenses, legal stuff, which kind of was tied in with the comic legal defense fund, which like I said, I was already a supporter of. And I gave Rosario Dawson this $20 bill. Most people were giving her ones and fives. She's like, "Whoa, thank you," and hugged me. I was with my then friend Joseph Butler, or Beanie Butler, my buddy, the Young Dragon from Borders, and my then girlfriend Rachel Kadushin, and three of us, with a very small cadre of people, screened this Descent film. The only notable person who was actually a guest at the convention that went the whole 9 yards and watched it was Peter David, the great comic book writer, known for his incredibly long and uh, wonderful run on the Incredible Hulk, among many, many others. Plus, he's a famous tie-in writer, tie-in novels with Star Trek and such. Nice guy, great guy. I had met him several times over the years. Really sweet man, and he and I had a very cool talk about the movie the next day. He was shocked by it, but he had some insight. Um, that was a great weekend. This was 2007. So that's the deal with Rosario. So Rosario was discovered doing Kids, and she and I talked a little bit about that, and not a lot. Um, I was a big supporter of Descent. She signed a poster for me, which if I can find it, I'm going to go ahead and show it to you. And I've returned. So here's a poster of the movie Descent that I bought for $15 from Rosario Dawson. Gustavo Vasquez was there at the time at Heroes Con 2007. So check this out, man. Look at this. I have not unfurled this in a couple of years. Love it. Will never sell it. I did sell the movie. So check this out, man. I don't know if you can see this. It says Henry. What does it say, man? Henry. So much love. Rosario Dawson. Look at her. This is a great movie, by the way. It's one of those. I mean, I can't say it's a great movie, but it's an unusual movie. It's the kind that you want in your collection. Oh, fuck. I think I'm tearing it. It's just so fucking weird. Oh, no. I tore my poster. I'll take it. God damn it. Motherfucker. As my dad used to say. I'm never going to sell this. One day I'd like to frame it. But obviously I'm going to have to tape it up. Never intended to sell it. Personalized and anyway, I'll review Descent another time. I don't have a copy right now, but I could probably do a review. My point is, Rosario was discovered for kids, 1995, which also starred Chloe Sevigny and another Larry Clark's really cool discoveries, Leo Fitzpatrick, who played the God, what's his name? Pelly. He was the kid who basically was giving AIDS to everybody. This reckless, ridiculous skater punk kid who's just fucking everybody inside. He's like 15 or 16 years old. I don't know how old Chloe Sevigny was at the time, but Rosario really was 15 at the time. I don't think she has a sex scene in the movie. Probably some drug taking. Larry Clark at that time was like 52. He had been a photographer, and he was really into documenting the I don't know, the seedier side of, I don't know, San Francisco, LA, California, where he lived. Younger people, and a lot of people accused him of being like a pedophile or a leering perv. And I don't know, maybe he is a leering perv. I don't think he's a pedophile in the sense of he's fucking these people, but he is documenting it's really their lives, the precociousness, the unsupervised teenagers, unsupervised by parental figures, just indulging constantly in carnality and drugs and just whatever, with no abandon. And that's kind of what we had with kids. So Bully is taking kids to the next notch because, first of all, it's based on a true story, a true crime story about this kid, and he kills his best friend Bobby Kent. Bobby Kent is kind of, as the title says, a bully. He kind of dominates the scene. He's very charismatic. He's a good-looking young kid. Of course, unlike all the other characters, his parents have money and are affluent. Want him to go to college, maybe become a lawyer. This character is played by Nick Stale. And I gotta say, man, this is the kind of performance, the kind of role character that could ruin your fucking career because he is so authentically mean and sleazy and deviant. Everything about the character is just cruel, sociopathic, and the fact that he's so young, not as young as he's playing, the actor, but he's playing like a character probably 17 maybe, and he has no boundaries. And of course, his dad gives him no consequences for his actions. He bullies his best friend Marty, played by the late great Brad Renfro, who co-produced this film. Brad Renfro was a terrible loss to the film community. He committed suicide, I think, at 25, which was just a little bit younger than Heath Ledger was when he also committed suicide around the same time. They died within a year, I think, two of each other. Tremendous losses. A lot of people talk about River Phoenix. I was not a fan because I just didn't. I was the right age, I guess, to get into his movies, but I bypassed that. I didn't see My Own Private Idaho or River's Edge or these other movies until like 2000. By the time he was deceased. Now, Brad Renfro and Heath Ledger, I saw Bully when it was new, obviously. I saw Apt Pupil when it's pretty recent. I saw Ghost World when it was new. Some of these movies I still own. I have Ghost World and Criterion. I loved Brad Renfro, and he had a promising career as an actor, and he had a shrewd eye for good material to invest in as a producer. And of course, Heath Ledger, was kind of a pretty boy actor, but also did some deep stuff like Brokeback Mountain that was kind of challenging, taboo busting. And then he did the Joker, and he was immortalized, and then he died. So I have to say, I'm not really into that generation of actors per se, the younger generation. I do tend to like them in some ways more than the generation before them, the Johnny Depps and the Brad Pitts and the Tom Cruises. I like certain works by Brad Pitt and Johnny Depp. Tom Cruise, I can just do without. If he ceased to exist, I'd be fine. We wouldn't be missed in this area. Um, but that generation, if you want to call it a generation of actors who are probably now like approaching 55 to 60 years old, but who were, a few years older than me, and they were big at the time, and I was retreating from commercial cinema in a big way. So only faint echoes of these guys reached me. Nothing of Cruise's really mattered to me. I saw Born on the Fourth of July in the theater. He did a good job, but that's really it. He kind of shot his wad with that. Stone is hard on his actors. Him, Val Kilmer. He'll method out. Like Val Kilmer said, he got method. He methoded out. I don't know how he put it, but he's like, I don't know. I methoded out. Too much method acting. But again, The Doors, great film. Oliver Stone, don't love all his movies, but he is an impeccable filmmaker and a radical thinker. Love the guy. So Woody Harrelson turned him from kind of a amusing comedian into a heavyweight dark actor with Natural Born Killers, which to me is like an American classic. If you want to talk about modern films that are American classics, some people might say Tarantino, the Coen brothers. I will stick with Natural Born Killers over Tim Burton, any of those fucking cats, except David Lynch, of course. What the hell was I talking about? So that generation, yeah. Brad Pitt, I came to appreciate a little bit. He's great in Seven. He has some range. He had to learn how to act. He was kind of a pretty boy at first. Um, Depp, I really like in Ed Wood, and I'm not a Tim Burton fan. I liked Edward Scissorhands. I saw it twice in the theater. I saw Ed Wood twice in the theater. So this is back in my youth, right? But I didn't see Kids at the time. I didn't see that. I didn't know about this incoming generation. The people who are in Kids, people who are in Bully. Larry Clark helped discover and nurture these people, and really he was fascinated with actors who were willing to play this type of extreme behavior that was really going on with young people. So the story of Bobby Kent is a real story. I did read a true crime book all about it. I totally forgot the name of the book, the author, anything. But so a lot of details I'm kind of weak on. I will say the film is a pretty close adaptation of what really happened. So essentially, Bobby and Marty were best friends. Bobby, like I said, was a privileged kid. Marty was kind of an underprivileged kid, and they both liked to surf and mess around and dabbled in all kinds of things with drugs and trying to fuck girls and also making money hustling guys for phone sex and dancing. It was just for 16, 17-year-old guys, this was just out of control. But I think Clark was trying to say this is not all that unusual. We just don't know it. We're not, as a society, 20 years ago anyway, we're not acknowledging that our kids are out of control, and Bully is the absolute masterpiece of this line of thinking, this statement. The characters they're vibrant, they're dislocated. Even the parental figures, they're not quite. You can't quite empathize with them. You can't quite hook on them. There's something. They're not there. They're kind of vacant, and they're living these lives, and they're just totally into the sensual experience of living a teenage life, of debauchery. And the parents are clueless. There's no moral compass. There's a moral vacuum. Into this, there's two characters that become very fascinating. Well, first of all, Marty hooks up with a girl named, damn, I forgot her name. Actress is Rachel Miner. Rachel Miner played the young Michelle Bauer on the soap opera Guiding Light when I was watching in the late 80s, early 90s. She's a very promising young girl. Michelle was a very sweet character. So to see the teenage Rachel Miner doing this character, constant nudity, cussing, drugs, and planning murders, it was a sobering sight. But damn, she went for it. I mean, that's the thing. This is like really risky cinema, dealing with teenage to young adult actors kind of on the edge legally and morally, and Larry Clark is just fucking, he's going for it. He's balls out, like, I'm going to tell this story, I'm going to shed this light, think what you want. This is like its own moral universe, and that's what fascinated me with Bully. I went through a deep depression in 2002, 2003, and man, I got to thank Dwayne, because I watched Bully repeatedly. It was like a world that I knew nothing about, that I kind of suspected existed, and to see it so vividly painted on camera, wow. I mean, Bully became one of my very favorite movies for a while. It's not that high now, and I've watched it so many times. It's the moral vacancy of it, the ambiguity of it. It kind of helped fill the moral, the psychological void that was growing in me as I was dealing with my depression head on for the first time in my life. I'd always had it. Started going on medication, experimenting with different medication through the system, and sometimes I would just take a Klonopin or a Ativan, something like a benzodiazepine or even a painkiller, and I would just zone out and bliss out, and I would watch movies. I would watch movies repeatedly. I had this deep, deep, deep connection with cinema. I had a small TV, but it was really nice color TV, and I had a Blu-ray player, which also was given to me by Dwayne Cochran, ladies and gentlemen. DVD player, not Blu-ray player. And I would just, work at Borders. I had a great discount. I would just buy these movies and I would absorb them. And my emotions were very close to the surface during this period. So, I was never the kind of person that would cry during movies, but I got that point. I would cry during movies, emotionally resonant scenes. Also, it was like the Stendhal syndrome in that Argento film, where you see a work of art and you're kind of overwhelmed with this kind of bliss out, vertiginous feeling. And that's kind of what I experienced. I would watch these movies, and there were passages I would start crying, sometimes for the emotional content, sometimes for how much it resonated with me, and a lot of times just for the artistry of it would touch me inside. Like, this is something wrought by human hands and human minds, and it matters. It's vibrant. It touches me. This is art, and art has always been my refuge, my solace. And so film became the ultimate realization of my love for storytelling, my love for music and sound, my love for visuals and art. Cinema combined all of this, and it had this emotional, visceral, cerebral, and intellectual pull that I needed at that point in my life. I could feel these. I could feel these films. They became part of the tapestry of my mind. I mean, the characters, the ideas, and of course, they strongly pushed me into taking my own story, Flicker Street, like a whole nother level. Realizing it in the sense of these characters are real. I feel them in my mind, so I wanted to pick them realistically. Now, it took about 10 more years before, with the inspiration of artist Delphine Levesque Demers, to do that kind of art, visual art, and I've been really slack about it in the last year or two, and a lot of it's because of my health issues with my hands. Typing is hard, drawing is hell. I played guitar a few times last week. I sent some of you guys some clips. I did some weird improvisation stuff, and I was happy with it, but I was drunk and I wasn't really feeling it, but man, the next day my hands, my wrists were so sore. So let me imbibe a little, and then I'm going to get right down to finishing up this assessment of Bully, which I'm playing in the background. So, Bully. We talked about Nick Stale being the bully character, Bobby Kent. Brad Renfro is the bullied character, Marty. Marty has all these issues with his masculinity. You know, he's like, in a way, he's like this bullied, kind of shy, socially inept guy. In another way, you know, he's kind of a stud. He does the surfing, he attracts girls physically, especially his girlfriend, played by Rachel Miner. I think her name's Allie. Allie, I get it. And but he's always under the shadow of Bobby, and Bobby has this kind of just sick and very homoerotic hold on him. He's like, you know, he rapes Allie because he's like, it's my turn. You know, it's like, you fucked her, now I fuck her. You know, it's kind of like in Dead Ringers. You haven't experienced anything until I have, baby brother. You haven't had her until I've had her. You know, the two brothers, Beverly Elliott, vying over Claire Nimmo, played by Jean-Viet Bujold. That's a movie I need on Blu-ray. That's one of my favorite films ever, and one of my very favorite Cronenberg movies. Jeremy Irons should have won 2 Oscars for each character. I love that movie. It's endlessly quotable. It's a tour de force, man. It's a crime that I don't own a copy right now. I should probably be sentenced to cinema purgatory and hang out with Bill White at Cinema Penitentiary or Cinema Purgatory with Rhonda Bauman. Bill White, ladies and gentlemen, Rhonda Bauman, Dr. Rhonda Bauman, ladies and gentlemen. So two buds of mine who are knee deep in cinema. Rhonda Bauman used to be she had a brief turn as a scream queen under the name Rochelle Williams. And she really shed all her clothes. She was very sexy and very kind of mischievous, mainly in the films by Mark Baranowski, the marksman, who I've talked about on this channel before. I posted a video he and I made together of his song "The Darkness." Mark no longer chooses to associate with me, but that's fine. Rhonda, I talk to on occasion, but I knew Rhonda as a fan, as Rochelle, this kind of sex bomb character. I didn't know she was really an erudite, intellectual doctor, a scholar, literally a doctor, a scholar, and quite a film scholar. She has her own zines and things. I regret losing kind of touch with her. Ironically, I have a book of hers right here. This is called Quietly But With Force, a short story anthology. Rhonda K. Bauman and Scott Barker. Now, Scott Barker also wrote the book about Mark Baranowski and his film career, which I have a copy of too. And to be honest, I forgot the name of it. Marksman would hate me. But Rhonda is somebody I'd like to talk to more, but she's very elusive. She's very busy. She's got a variety of interests, but but she's one of these people that has a throbbing intellect and strong personality, but also has maybe not as much now as when she was Rochelle Williams, but has a strong sexuality and an unashamed sexuality, and she's a big fan of Scream Queens and has befriended some of them and written about them and talked to them. And I find it fascinating. It's a self-empowering thing for her. And just to be able to do a movie with like The Marksman, shot on video, no restraints, and just take all your clothes off. I mean, they're not doing hardcore sex, but everything but, you're not, there's nothing left to the imagination, really. And do so with this kind of delight in her body and in her sexuality, and then to turn around and do these zines and be kind of like a scholar, but also teach and be a doctor. I like Rhonda. I wish Rhonda and I would talk more. I don't have a crush on Rhonda or anything, but damn, I almost did for a while. So anyway, Rhonda Bauman, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Rhonda Bauman. So my point here with in a circuitous route here, getting back to bullying. My hair is really falling out. But you guys are okay with it, right? So Bully probes deep. I mean, it's got some interesting young actors who want to do other things, like Michael Pitt, who want to do The Dreamers by Bertolucci, and he also played, for a while, he played Mason Verger on the incredible TV series Hannibal, which I covered in a previous video on this channel. Bijou Phillips, one of the Phillips girls, like Michelle Phillips' kids, like Mackenzie Phillips. They're all related somehow with the mamas and papas things. I don't know. You need like a family tree to keep track. Bijou Phillips plays Rachel Miner's best friend in this, and kind of a co-conspirator. They meet the two guys together in the mall when the two cats. I mean, they work together, they surf together, they get off gay guys together, they party together. But there's it's a sick symbiotic kind of parasitic relationship with Bobby and Marty. And finally, Allie decides, hey, we're gonna kill Bobby. It's just this arbitrary thing. It's like Bobby causes a lot of problems. He raped me. He raped my best friend. And okay, well, yeah, point taken. So they enlist this guy who's called a hitman, and he's played by Leah Fitzpatrick, the cat from Kids, Telly, who also did a funny and short term in Hal Hartley's great movie Fay Grimm, which also has a copy. Another that trilogy, the Fay Grimm, Henry Fool, whatever the last chapter's called. That trilogy is really one of my favorite. I haven't seen the third one, but Henry Fool and Fay Grimm are just a great one-two knockout punch from Hal Hartley. I love Hal Hartley. I love Amateur, The Unbelievable, Unbearable, Unbelievable Truth, Trust. He's one of my favorite kind of semi-indie directors that came up in the 80s and 90s. I like him. He kind of reminds me of Adam Ogoyan from Canada, but I like him even better. Uh, Martin Donovan stars in most of his movies, and he's spot on. Amateur is just an amazing film. I haven't seen it in years. I don't think it's on DVD. I don't think it's on Blu-ray. It was on DVD in a pan and scan. But I do have Fay Grimm. I used to have Henry Fool. I sold that. Hal Hartley, that's somebody I'll probably talk about in the future. I really like him. He's somewhere kind of on the spectrum between Adam Ogoyan and Jim Jarmusch, and he's fairly Jean-Luc Godard influenced. Uh, Humor, humanity, and of course, quirkiness. 90s indie movies, some of which were like semi-indie when Miramax hit and Tarantino and Kevin Smith started picking up these movies for bigger distribution. That was a great time for creativity. Movies like I Shot Andy Warhol and Search and Destroy and Party Girl. And oh my God, there were so many wonderful fucking films, Gun for Jennifer. And I don't know, man. Abel Ferrara's films. And that was a beautiful time. So Larry Clark is kind of planing off of that after Kids came out in 1995. So he kind of rode that wave. I think Miramax or Dimension, put out Kids on DVD. And I know Lionsgate ended up picking up his stuff because initially Lionsgate was this young, scrappy company that would pick up the controversial films no one else would, like Bully and like Kevin Smith's Dogma, stuff that was controversial. And they were kind of second to Artisan, who was doing a lot of original material and also re-releasing classic material, kind of like Miramax was. And you thought Artisan was a bigger company, an up and coming company. It turns out Lionsgate, the smaller company, bought Artisan, so they got their catalog. And then they ended up putting a lot of movies out on their own. They put out some good indie movies, but they ended up churning out a lot of like shitty genre movies, and especially a lot of poor horror movies. Some interesting ones, and they did the Rob Zombie catalog, which is, in my opinion, mostly worthless, except for Devil's Rejects, which I think is classic. But that's Lionsgate. They're still around, so they were an interesting contender in that period of the semi. I call them the semi indie studios, the indie type movies, indie sensibility movies that are picked up by bigger studios, bigger distribution, and seen by a wider range of people, and kind of became part of the zeitgeist of the culture. Definitely riding the rails of, like I said, Quentin Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez, Kevin Smith, and you had guys who'd been toiling in that area for a long time, like Hal Hartley, Adam Ogoyan, Jim Jarmusch, and they started breaking. Adam Ogoyan with Exotica, Jarmusch with Dead Man, Ghost Dog, and of course, Jarmusch does some great genre films. He did a great documentary called "Gimme Danger" on the Stooges. he's an important force. He goes way back to the late '70s punk scene. I haven't seen all his stuff. What I've seen, I haven't loved all of it, but I do like Dead Man. I love Ghost Dog. I like Gimme Danger. And there's actually a movie. I didn't see The Dead Don't Die. That had very mixed reactions. But he's done another movie. My brain's gone blank. He's done a more recent movie that I really enjoyed, and I can't remember. It's another kind of character-based genre movie like Ghost Dog and Dead. Anyway, it'll come to me eventually, but it seems like I really dug it. So Larry Clark, like I said, he kind of rode that wave, the crest of that wave, and did his own kind of idiosyncratic thing. And eventually he ended up with material like Ken Park, which is, you know, pretty much pornographic in its explicitness. And again, as teenagers, I don't know if all the actors are legally teenagers, whatever, but they're having sex and they're actually having sex. It's not like Kids and Bully, where it's pretty graphic but simulated. Ken Park, they're ejaculating and everything all over the place. I don't know what I thought about it. And the characters are even more morally vacant and vapid than Kids or Bully. To me, Bully is the barometer. The characters in Bully have, as detached as they are and disconnected, disaffected by the debauchery in their world and out of their league with all these subjects like sex and drugs and planning murders. There is a human element there, a depth, maybe because it's based on a true story. I don't know. It's lacking in Kids and definitely lacking in Ken Park. To me, Bully, like I said, it's Larry Clark's masterpiece. And basically, these kids conspire to kill Bobby the bully. It's super convoluted. They get the aspiring hitman played by Leah Fitzpatrick. And, you know, the dialogue is so naturalistic and so endemic of their kind of weird subculture. Leo Fitzpatrick ends up almost becoming like a sage character. I mean, he's only a little older than them, and he's just like, yeah, I know what I do. I got a few ideas. Yeah, you say you want to plan a murder. You know, he's like Joe Cool. He's like, you know, hey, you guys are fucking around. I mean, this is real shit, man. You know, and they all kind of get together, you know, Allie and her friend and our other friends, Heather, and the guy played by Michael Pitt, Donnie. And one character that gets thrown in is Allie's first cousin. I don't know the actor's name, and I'm having trouble remembering the character. He's kind of a tall, chubby guy, and I've seen him in some other films. A good actor. He's kind of the moral center of this. He's very reluctant to do all this. He kind of looks down on their lifestyle of his cousin Allie. But he also cares about her. He wants to help her because their parents are useless. They have no moral authority in their life. So the cousin kind of bonds with Leo, the hitman, and he's kind of like, yeah, I'll help you, you know, because he's really the only other big kind of tall guy, older than the main characters. You know, Leo and Allie's cousin are both, you know, around 20. You know, these other characters are like 16, 17 years old. And they talk about they're going to lure Bobby out. They're going to have a signal, man, a signal. Alligators. When you say alligators, you hit. I'm going to back you up. And they, you know, this elaborate plan, and they're all tense, and they're all playing around with these knives. And they're kids. You know, they are fucking children. And they are really planning this fucking murder. So Allie's friend, who played by Bijou Phillips, is kind of the slutty one of the group anyway. She's kind of the bait. She's continually sexually luring Bobby. And then they get this chick, Heather, and she's like, hey, are there alligators out there? And, you know, Bobby's like, alligators? The thing about Bobby is he's a prick and everything, and he dominates everybody, but he's really smart. And he's really cynical and mean. And he's like, what the fuck? Alligators. And then, boom, Donnie stabs him in the back. And, you know, he just kind of cascades from there. And when Marty stabs him, it's like, Marty, I thought you were my best friend, Marty. You know, and they're all kind of part of it. And Heather, like, goes into a fugue state in the car. And Leo, the hitman, helps finish it off. And it's intense. It's bloody. It's nasty. and that's when you see Nick Stale as Bobby. Just he's freaking out. You know, these people are stabbing him. They're laughing and maniacally. They're all drugged out. You know, Marty and Donnie and Leo. And, you know, this like a Manson kind of family massacre, except on one cat. And you know, Bobby is just Bobby. You know, he definitely kind of deserves it. But then at the same time, he's young and stupid. And you wonder if maybe murder was too far, but they do it, man. And Leo wipes him out after they cut his throat. Marty cuts his throat and cuts him, and Leo bashes him with a titanium steel baseball bat. And then they try to figure out where to bury him, and there's all this fucking. They bury him, and there's like these crabs and all this mud, and Leo says, "Nature sucks." Um, it's a sight to see. It's very intense. This is really my favorite true crime film of all time. I mean, I love Honeymoon Killers. I love Manson, a documentary, and Helter Skelter. And this one just, I don't know, it sucked me in. The characters, it's like I couldn't relate to them, and yet I still got sucked into their kind of world, their kind of counterculture of just, like I said, this moral vacuum. Like they don't know what the fuck is going on. You know, there's no adults around. So Leo, the hitman, and the cousin end up being kind of like the parents, and they kind of are the people the audience go. I mean, even though Leo's a hitman, he's more intelligent. He's older. He makes more sense. If you're gonna do this kind of thing, do it right. I mean, come on. Otherwise, you're gonna go to prison, fuck your life up. And the cousin is like holding back, and he's like, I don't know, and he's real reluctant. He really wants to just help. And so they get rid of Bobby's body, but you know, he gets discovered and they all go to trial. And because basically Allie and these kids start bragging, you know, in their drugged out hubris, they start bragging, yeah, I killed Bobby, you know, he gets around the school. It's an intense ending with this great reggae song playing within the trial, and it's just very doomy, Judgment Day kind of thing. And like I said, it's all true. I've done a lot of rambling, and I've watched some of it while I've been talking, and I've gone off a lot of tangents. But this is a formal review of Bully 2001 by Larry Clark. I think is an underappreciated masterpiece of gritty, extreme crime drama cinema. I highly recommend it. Have a strong stomach. Be prepared to deal with people you're like, what the fuck is their problem? Why are these kids acting this way? Brad Renfro is nothing short of brilliant. Nick Stale, this was kind of the last jumping off point of his great career, which didn't really go very far. He did play John Connor in a Terminator movie. And of course, he played the lead role. I think his name's Ben Hawkins was the character in the great two-season miniseries Carnival on HBO, which got cut short. He and Clancy Brown, Clea Duvall, Adrienne Barbeau, etc. Michael Anderson. Carnival is a masterpiece. Maybe one day I'll do a video on Carnival. I don't currently own any copies of the two seasons. But it's one of my favorite. It's in my top 10 favorite shows. Nick Stale is brilliant. He's somebody who really needs a more incredible career, and to take the risks he did doing this movie that could really like take your reputation, and maybe it did. I don't know. Maybe it's had an adverse effect on him. I need to read up, but haven't heard much of any of these actors. And of course, like I said, Brad Renfro killed himself. This is dark stuff, but it's real. And it really is real and authentic and gritty. So I highly recommend it. Bully, Larry Clark, 2001. This is my blue review. I think it's number 80, maybe. And I thank you for listening. I'll be back with more very soon.